Let's jump right into today's explainer. A letter to God, faith, fury, and a twist of irony. अगर आपने कभी किसी की मदद की हो और उल्टा आप ही फंस गए, then trust me, you're going to relate to this on a spiritual level. We're unpacking a classic tale that perfectly blends absolute, unwavering faith with just a hilarious twist of human irony.
I mean, WhatsApp के ज़माने में भगवान को पत्र कौन लिखता है? In the age of instant messaging, who actually writes a letter to God? Well, meet Lencho. He's a hardworking kisan who completely skipped the digital age and decided to send his mail directly to the Almighty. Think about it, right? Writing a physical letter is rare enough these days, but writing one straight to Bhagwan, that takes a level of innocence and unshakable faith that you just don't see anymore. But Lencho, he doesn't just think about it, he literally does it.
Moving to Section 1, Hope for Rain. We start our story in this incredibly picturesque valley. Lencho's house sits all alone on a hill, and from up there, he's looking down at his beautiful, ripe cornfield. Now, this field just needs one really good downpour to guarantee a fantastic harvest.
And here's what's so fascinating about how Lencho sees the world. When he and his family are having dinner, his prediction actually comes true. The rain finally starts. But to a farmer whose entire livelihood depends on this crop, he doesn't just see water falling from the sky. He literally sees new coins. He looks at that heavy rain and says, hey, the big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s. It's such a beautiful metaphor, right? Because for him, a good rain equates directly to a good harvest, and a good harvest equates to money for his family. So he is absolutely overjoyed just soaking in that satisfaction.
But as we know, nature can be incredibly unpredictable. Section 2. The Hailstorm Tragedy. That joy, it's very short-lived. The pleasant rain quickly transforms into a massive, devastating hailstorm, dropping huge chunks of ice that his kids mistakenly think are actual new silver coins.
For an agonizing hour, this hail just batters the valley. It pounds the house, the garden, the hillside, and crucially, the cornfield. When the storm finally passes, Lencho looks out at a field that is turned entirely white. It literally looked as if the whole field had been covered in salt. Not a single leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed, the flowers were gone, and Lencho's soul was just filled with immense sadness. And this brilliantly illustrates his sheer despair. He stands right in the middle of his ruined field and tells his sons that, even a plague of locusts, tiddiyon ka dal, would have left more behind than this storm did. The hail left them with absolutely nothing. He realizes, plain and simple, this year they will have no corn. It's a dark, terrifying night for the family, staring down the very real threat of starvation.
Which brings us to Section 3, Writing to God. Faced with starvation, Lencho leans on a lesson he's known since childhood, that no one dies of hunger. He believes deeply that jiska koi nahi hota, uska upar wala hota hai. His one and only hope now, direct help from God.
So here's the crucial point. Lencho, who works like an ox in the fields, but surprisingly knows how to read and write, makes a really bold decision. Come Sunday morning, he sits down and writes a letter directly to God. And he is not vague about it either. He specifically requests exactly 100 pesos. He clearly explains that his crop was destroyed by the hailstorm, and he needs this exact amount to replant his fields and survive until the new crop comes in.
He then walks all the way into town, carrying this immense burden of hope. He writes to God on the envelope, puts the letter inside, buys a stamp at the post office, slaps it on, and casually drops it right into the public mailbox. Just imagine the sheer innocence of that. He truly believes the postal system has a direct sorting bin for heaven.
Okay, Section 4, the postmaster's help. This brings us inside the post office. A postman sees the address and, naturally, laughs hysterically. But his boss, the postmaster, he is deeply moved by Lencho's profound, unshakable faith.
Instead of just ignoring it or throwing it away, the postmaster decides he wants to answer this letter to make sure Lencho's faith isn't shattered. But he very quickly realizes that answering it requires a lot more than just good intentions and some ink. It requires 100 pesos. So, what does he do? He crowdfunds. He asks for money from his employees. He gives a part of his own salary, and he even gets his friends to chip in for this beautiful act of charity. But despite his incredible, selfless efforts, it's just impossible for the postmaster to gather the full amount. He can only manage to collect 70 pesos, which is just a little more than half of what Lencho asked for. So he puts this hard-earned money inside an envelope, addresses it to Lencho, and with a single word as a signature, he just writes, God. It's this wonderful, secret act of kindness. And now we reach Section 5, the ultimate irony. The very next Sunday, Lencho arrives to ask for his mail. The proud postmaster is watching from his office, eagerly anticipating Lencho's reaction. He's expecting pure joy and gratitude, right? But in a massive twist, the reaction is the exact opposite. Lencho opens the letter, completely unsurprised to see the money, because that's how incredibly strong his faith was. But as soon as he counts the cash and sees only 70 pesos, he becomes absolutely furious. His logic? God could never make a mathematical mistake, and God certainly wouldn't deny him what he had requested. So he instantly marches right back up to the window, asks for paper and ink, and starts furiously scribbling a second letter.
And here is the legendary, ironic punchline. After Lencho drops the second letter in the mail and leaves, the postmaster eagerly opens it up. Instead of a big thank you, the letter says, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But here is the kicker. He adds, but don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Doke bazon kasamu. He's literally convinced the very people who sacrificed their own hard-earned money to help him are the ones who stole the missing 30 pesos.
It's a hilarious and honestly somewhat tragic reminder that sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. It's such an incredible story to reflect on as you prep for your tests on this chapter. But before we wrap up today's explainer, it leaves us with a really fascinating final thought to ponder. If you were in Lencho's shoes with that same unshakable faith and you wrote a letter to God right now, what exactly would you ask for? Think about it. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.